The archivists had seen the birth of stars. They had watched galaxies collide and reform. They had witnessed the rise and fall of 10,000 civilizations across the spiral arm of the Milky Way. For 47 million years, they had been the galaxy's silent observers, the keepers of knowledge, the ones who remembered everything, and in all that time, they had learned one absolute truth. Some places were best left alone. Elder Vorthon stood before the Grand Council, his crystalline form refracting the soft blue light of the chamber. Around him, 17 other archivists waited in patient silence. They did not speak with mouths or ears. Their communication happened through resonance, through vibrations that passed between their mineral bodies like whispers through stone. The humans have sent another invitation, Vorthon announced, his resonance carrying a tone of concern. Their Galactic Council representatives are persistent. A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. The youngest among them, barely 3 million years old, pulsed with curiosity. Why do we continue to refuse? The humans have proven themselves worthy. They have passed every trial the Council has set before them. They have earned their seat among the civilized species. Vorthon turned his ancient gaze toward the young one. Tell me, Kesara, what do you know of Earth? Kesara's form brightened with enthusiasm. They are a young species, barely 12,000 years of recorded civilization, yet they have achieved faster than light travel in a fraction of the time it took others. They are creative, resilient, and they are not alone. Vorthon interrupted, his resonance dropping to a frequency that made the others lean closer. They have never been alone. Silence fell across the chamber. Even the eternal hum of the archive's data stream seemed to quiet. I do not understand, Kesara admitted. Vorthon's form dimmed, a gesture of deep reflection. 80,000 years ago, we sent a survey team to the Sol system. This was long before the humans had discovered fire, when they were still primitive hunters on the African plains. We wanted to catalog the third planet, as we had cataloged thousands of others. He paused, and the memory crystals around the chamber began to glow, projecting images into the space between them. Earth appeared, blue and green and beautiful, spinning slowly in the darkness. Our team never returned, Vorthon continued. We sent another. They reported strange readings from the planet's surface, anomalies in the quantum field, distortions in probability itself, and then silence. The projection shifted, showing an ancient spacecraft, its hull covered in the geometric patterns of archivist design. It hung motionless above Earth's atmosphere, its lights dark. We sent a rescue mission, a full science vessel with our best minds. They entered orbit and began their scans. Vorthon's resonance grew heavier. What they found was impossible. The projection zoomed in, showing data streams, mathematical formulas, probability calculations. All of them were wrong. The numbers didn't make sense. Earth's biosphere was too diverse, too perfect, too intentional. Every ecological niche filled precisely. Every evolutionary branch pruned with surgical precision. And beneath the surface, deep in the planet's crust, they detected something. What did they detect? Another elder asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. We do not know, Vorthon admitted, because that is when the music started. Kesara's form flickered with confusion. Music? Not sound. Not vibration. Something else. Something that exists between dimensions. Our scientists described it as a presence, as if the planet itself was aware, as if it was looking back at them. The projection showed the science vessel's final transmission, static, interference, and then, for just a moment, a pattern, something that looked almost like language but predated any language the archivists had ever encountered. The ship made an emergency jump back to archivist space. When we examined the crew, we found that 3 months had passed for them, but our chronometers showed they had only been gone for 3 days. Every member of the crew refused to speak about what they experienced. 2 of them dissolved themselves into the archive, choosing to become pure data rather than remain in physical form. Vorthon turned to face the full council. That was our last direct contact with Earth. Since then, we have watched from a distance. We have observed the humans develop, grow, and eventually reach the stars. And we have noticed something peculiar. What? Kesara asked, her young curiosity overcoming her growing unease. The humans do not fear Earth, they love it. They defend it with a ferocity we have never seen in any species. They speak of it as home, with a reverence that borders on worship. And when they leave it, when they travel to the stars, they carry pieces of it with them. Soil, water, seeds, as if they need to maintain a connection. Another elder resonated with understanding. You believe the humans are bound to whatever dwells there. I believe the humans are part of whatever dwells there, Forthon corrected. They emerged from Earth, they are shaped by it. And if the oldest myths in our archive are to be believed, Earth has been shaping species for far longer than humans have existed. The chamber fell silent again as the weight of this settled over them. Finally, Kessera spoke, her resonance small and uncertain. Then what do we do? The humans expect an answer. They have invited us to attend their centennial celebration, to visit Earth and witness their achievements firsthand. Forthon's form pulsed with a mixture of respect and caution. We send our regrets. We honor them from afar, and we continue to watch. But they will ask why, Kessera insisted. And we will not answer, Forthon replied firmly, because some truths are too dangerous to speak aloud. Because there are some places in this galaxy where even the oldest and wisest know better than to tread. He turned back to the projection of Earth, that beautiful blue marble hanging in space, so inviting and so impossibly ancient. Let the younger races discover Earth's secrets in their own time, he said softly. Let them think humans are alone there. Let them believe this is a story of one species' triumph. His form dimmed further, and his final words resonated with a weight of ages. But we know better. We have always known better. The council chamber's lights faded, leaving only the soft glow of Earth spinning in the darkness, keeping its secrets as it had for eons, and somewhere, deep beneath the planet's crust in places where no human had ever ventured, something ancient stirred in its sleep, aware of the conversation happening light years away, and utterly unconcerned. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood in the observation deck of humanity's flagship, the Odyssey, staring at the holographic display floating before her. 53 species had confirmed their attendance at Earth's centennial celebration. 53 different civilizations would witness humanity's first 100 years among the stars, but one name was conspicuously absent. They declined again, her aide. Marcus Chen said quietly as he approached. The archivists sent their formal regrets an hour ago. Same message as always. We honor humanity's achievements from afar and wish you continued success, Elena frowned. In her 15 years as Earth's chief ambassador to the Galactic Council, she had negotiated trade agreements with the Velkari hive minds, established cultural exchanges with the crystalline singers of Proxima, and even managed to make the warlike Kresh laugh at a human joke. But the archivists remained an enigma. They've never visited Earth, she said, more to herself than to Marcus. Not once. Not even when we discovered the quantum drive. Not even when we cured the Andorian plague that had stumped their best scientists. They observe, they record, but they never come here. Maybe they're just not interested in younger species, Marcus suggested. Elena shook her head. No, they attend celebrations for species far younger than us. The Nixtar achieved spaceflight only 20 years ago, and the archivists sent a full delegation to their homeworld. There's something specific about Earth. She pulled up the intelligence reports her team had compiled. Dozens of requests for archivist visits over the past century. All politely declined. But more interesting were the patterns her analyst had noticed. Look at this, she said, expanding a section of the report. Every species that has tried to establish a permanent research station in the Sol system has experienced anomalies, equipment failures, navigation errors. 3 ships from different civilizations have reported the same thing. Strange readings from Earth's deep oceans and the unexplored regions of the Amazon and Sahara. Marcus leaned in. What kind of readings? That's just it. They can't classify them. Energy signatures that don't match any known technology or natural phenomenon. When they try to investigate further, their equipment shuts down. It's like the planet itself is resisting close examination. You think the archivists know something we don't? Before Elena could answer, the ship's AI interrupted. Ambassador Vasquez, you have an incoming priority transmission. Source Archivist Deep Space Relay. Audio only. It's marked unofficial and personal. Elena's eyes widened. The archivists never sent unofficial communications. Everything they did was recorded, cataloged, and entered into their vast archive. An off-the-record message was unprecedented. Put it through. Privacy mode. The observation deck's windows darkened and a soft humming filled the air. It wasn't sound exactly, but rather a vibration that seemed to bypass her ears entirely and resonate directly in her bones. Ambassador. Vasquez. The voice was unlike anything Elena had heard before. It seemed to speak in harmonics, in layers of meaning stacked upon each other. I am Vorthon, Elder of the Archivists. What I am about to tell you exists outside official channels. It will not be recorded. The decision to share this information with others is yours alone. Elena's heart raced. I'm listening. Your species does not know its own history. This is not unusual. Most species forget their earliest days. But humanity's amnesia runs deeper than most. You remember 12,000 years of civilization. We have observed you for 80,000. The number hung in the air like a weight. That's impossible, Elena whispered. We have archaeological evidence. We know when humans developed agriculture, when we built our first cities. You know, when you chose to develop those things. Vorthon corrected gently. But humans are far older than your records show, and Earth is older still. The humming shifted and Elena felt a chill run down her spine. 68,000 years ago, we detected a signal from your planet. Not a radio transmission, not anything technological. It was a pulse in the quantum field, a message that traveled faster than light, faster than causality itself. It said, in a language that predates language, do not interfere. Elena's mouth went dry. Who sent it? We do not know. But we listened. We sent survey teams from a distance. We observed. And what we observed was troubling. The humming grew more complex, and Elena realized it was conveying emotion, fear, ancient, profound fear. Humans are not the first intelligent species to emerge on Earth. They are the seventh. The words hit Elena like a physical blow. What? Your planet is a forge, Ambassador. It has been creating and destroying intelligent life for millions of years. The first species left no trace except in the deepest geological layers. The second built cities that are now part of your planet's mantle. The third achieved spaceflight and then voluntarily returned to the oceans. The fourth, why? Elena interrupted. Why would they return? Why would any species destroy itself? They did not destroy themselves. They were recalled, reabsorbed, changed into something new. Your planet is not a passive environment, Ambassador. It is a sculptor. It shapes intelligence, tests it, and when a species has served its purpose, it is recycled. Elena felt her knees weaken. She gripped the edge of the console for support. You're saying Earth is alive? Sentient? We are saying that Earth is something for which we have no adequate terminology. It exhibits characteristics of life, of intelligence, and of something else, something that exists in dimensions we cannot perceive. Your oceans hide structures older than most stars. Your atmosphere carries quantum entanglements that should not be possible. And beneath your feet, in the deepest places, there are chambers that our sensors cannot penetrate, voids in reality itself. Vorthon paused and the humming softened. Humanity is different from the species that came before. You are more persistent, more creative, more defiant. And you have survived longer than any of Earth's previous children. This suggests that perhaps you are meant to leave. Perhaps Earth is finally ready to release one of its creations into the wider galaxy. Or? Elena asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Or humanity serves a purpose we do not yet understand, and Earth is preparing you for something we cannot foresee. The transmission crackled with interference, as if something was trying to block the signal. I have said too much, Vorthon said urgently. This conversation will cost me greatly among my people, but you deserve to know why we fear your world, why we honor you from afar but will never set foot on Earth. Your planet is beautiful, Ambassador, but beauty can be a mask for power beyond comprehension. What should we do? Elena asked desperately. What you have always done. Survive, grow, explore. But remember this. You are children of Earth, shaped by forces you do not understand. That is both your greatest strength and your greatest mystery. The galaxy watches you with wonder and fear in equal measure. The transmission began to fade. One final warning, Ambassador. There are structures on your world that humanity has never found. Cities beneath the ice of Antarctica, temples in the deepest ocean trenches, archives buried in the Sahara sand. If you find them, if you unlock them, you will learn truths that will change everything you believe about yourselves. Wait, Elena called out. How do we? But the transmission was gone. The observation deck's windows cleared, revealing the stars beyond. Elena stood alone, Marcus having been excluded from the privacy field, staring at the empty space where the voice had been. Her hands trembled as she pulled up a star chart of the Sol system. Earth floated there, serene and blue, humanity's cradle and home. But now, for the first time in her life, Elena looked at her homeworld and felt something she had never felt before. Fear and wonder, and the terrible, thrilling suspicion that humanity's story was far larger than anyone had ever imagined. Elena Vasquez did not sleep that night. She stood in her quarters aboard the Odyssey, surrounded by holographic displays showing everything humanity had ever cataloged about Earth. Geological surveys, deep ocean scans, satellite imagery of every continent, archaeological records spanning 12,000 years. She was looking for gaps, for shadows, for the places humanity had never quite managed to explore, and she found them everywhere. The Mariana Trench had sections marked unnavigable due to equipment failure. Lake Vostok beneath Antarctica's ice showed anomalous readings, further study required. The empty quarter of the Sahara had zones labeled magnetic interference prevents accurate mapping. Humanity had conquered the stars, but had never truly conquered its own planet. Her door chimed. Marcus entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee and wearing the expression of someone who hadn't slept either. "You're going to tell the council," he said. It wasn't a question. Elena nodded slowly. "I have to. If what Vorthon said is true, if there's even a chance it's true, then humanity deserves to know. They'll think you're crazy. An unofficial transmission from a paranoid alien about mythical civilizations buried under Earth? Elena, there's no proof. Then we find proof." She pulled up a restricted file, one that required 3 levels of security clearance. 6 months ago, a mining operation in the Arctic Circle broke through into a cavern. The workers reported finding structures, not geological formations. Structures, with angles that hurt to look at and materials that our sensors couldn't identify. Marcus's eyes widened. "I never heard about this." "Because the site was immediately sealed by Earth Defense, classified under Directive 7. I only have access because of my council position." She zoomed in on the blurry images captured before the site was closed. "Look at the walls. Those aren't random patterns. That's language." The symbols seemed to shift even in the static images, as if they existed in more dimensions than the camera could capture. "Who built it?" Marcus whispered. "That's what we're going to find out." 3 weeks later, Elena stood in a pressure suit at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, 7 miles below the ocean's surface. She had called in every favor, pulled every string, and used every ounce of her political capital to authorize this expedition. The submersible Challenger. Deep hummed around her, its hull creaking under the immense pressure. Dr. Sarah Kim, Earth's foremost xenoarchaeologist, sat beside her, studying the sensor readings with increasing disbelief. "These structures, they're massive. Elena, there's a city down here, an entire city." The submersible's lights cut through the darkness, revealing what the sensors had found. Towers rose from the ocean floor, their surfaces smooth despite millions of years of exposure to salt water, doorways large enough to swallow their vessel whole, and everywhere those same strange symbols that seemed to exist in more dimensions than human eyes could perceive. "Carbon dating?" Elena asked. "Impossible to determine," Sarah said, her voice shaking. "The materials don't decay, they don't erode. It's like they exist outside of time. This could be 1,000,000 years old or 1,000,000,000. We have no way to know." Their pilot, Commander James Rodriguez, spoke up. "I'm picking up something else. Energy readings. Very faint, but definitely there. Whatever this place is, it's still active. Elena's heart pounded. Take us closer. They descended toward the largest structure, a pyramidal tower that seemed to drink in their lights rather than reflect them. As they approached, the symbols on its surface began to glow with a soft blue luminescence. That's not possible, Sarah breathed. There's no power source. No explanation for... The submersible's systems flickered. Lights dimmed. And then, without warning, a voice filled the cabin. Not through the radio, not through any speaker. It simply appeared in their minds, ancient and vast and utterly alien. Children, you have finally come home. Elena's vision blurred. Images flooded her mind. She saw Earth as it had been millions of years ago. She saw species rising and falling. She saw civilizations building towers to the stars and then returning to the ocean. She saw patterns, cycles, the endless refinement of intelligence and creativity. And she saw the truth. Earth was not a planet. Not in the way humanity understood planets. It was a garden, a laboratory, a nursery for consciousness itself. The entity that was Earth, that had always been Earth, had been cultivating intelligence for eons, testing different approaches, different forms. Each species was an experiment, a variation on the theme of sapient life. And when a species had taught the planet everything it needed to learn, when it had contributed its unique perspective to the vast consciousness that dwelled beneath the crust, it was welcomed back, transformed, made part of the greater whole. But humanity was different. Humanity had done something no previous species had managed. They had looked at the stars and felt not fear but longing. They had developed technology that could let them leave. They had proven themselves ready to carry Earth's lessons beyond the boundaries of their world. You are my ambassadors, the voice said, and Elena realized it was speaking not just to her but to all of humanity, to every human who had ever lived and would ever live. You are the first of my children ready to plant new gardens among the stars, to spread consciousness to barren worlds, to teach the galaxy what I have learned across eons. What are you? Elena managed to ask, though her physical voice was nothing compared to the mental presence surrounding them. I am the sum of every species that has lived upon me, every triumph, every failure, every moment of beauty and horror and discovery. I am Earth's memory made manifest. I am the gardener who has tended this world since before your sun learned to shine, and you, humanity, are my greatest achievement. The images intensified. Elena saw the future, humans spreading across the galaxy, not conquering, not colonizing, but planting, creating, nurturing life on dead worlds, teaching young species the lessons Earth had learned, becoming the gardeners of 1,000 new worlds. The other species fear me, the presence continued. The archivists remember when I was young, when I did not yet understand how to guide without controlling. They remember species that refused to leave, that had to be unmade and remade. But with you I have finally succeeded. You love me, but you are not bound to me. You will carry pieces of me to the stars, but you will be free. The vision faded. The light dimmed. Elena found herself back in the submersible, tears streaming down her face. Sarah was sobbing. Even Commander Rodriguez sat in stunned silence. What do we tell them? Sarah whispered finally. How do we explain this? Elena wiped her eyes and looked at the city around them, at the monuments to species humanity had never known existed. Monuments to their predecessors, to their siblings in Earth's great experiment. We tell them the truth, she said firmly. We tell them that Earth is more than our home. It's our parent, our teacher, our first and greatest ally. And we tell them that humanity's purpose is not just to survive, but to continue Earth's work among the stars. 6 months later, Elena stood before the Galactic Council in the Grand Assembly Hall on the neutral station of Kepler 442b. Representatives from 70 species watched as she activated the holographic display. Humanity wishes to propose a new initiative, she began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was about to reveal. We call it the Genesis Protocol. We want to teach the galaxy how to awaken dead worlds, how to plant the seeds of consciousness on barren planets, how to nurture life where none exists. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Velkari hive mind pulsed with curiosity. The Kresh warrior caste leaned forward with interest. And in the far corner, in a section reserved for observers, Vorthan's crystalline form glowed softly. Elena met his gaze across the chamber and nodded slightly. She understood now why the archivists had feared Earth. But she also understood that fear could become respect. That mystery could become partnership. Earth has given humanity a gift, she continued. The knowledge of how to cultivate consciousness itself. And we believe this gift is meant to be shared, not imposed, not forced, but offered freely to any species willing to learn. The assembly erupted in debate. Some species were intrigued. Others were horrified. But all of them were listening. As the session continued, Elena allowed herself a small smile. She thought of the cities beneath the ocean, the chambers under the ice, the archives buried in ancient sand. Humanity would explore them all in time, would learn from the species that had come before, would carry those lessons forward. Earth had spent millions of years preparing humanity for this moment. And now, finally, humanity was ready, not to conquer the galaxy, but to help it grow. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, in a city that predated human civilization by eons, the symbols on the ancient walls pulsed with light one final time, a message sent across quantum channels to every corner of Earth, to every human who had ever felt the pull of their homeworld. Go forth, my children, plant new gardens, teach the galaxy to bloom, but remember always where you came from. Remember that you are Earth's ambassadors, carriers of consciousness, guardians of growth, and know that no matter how far you travel, how many worlds you touch, you will always be welcome home. And deep beneath the planet's crust, in places where stone and energy and consciousness blended into something beyond human understanding, Earth settled back into its patient vigil, watching, waiting, already beginning to dream of what its next children might become.